Welcome back to Brick by Brick. Today we're going to be doing a hypothetical matchup prediction. In this case, it is going to be between the current Vice President, J.D. Vance, and the former Secretary of Transportation, Pete Buttigieg. So Pete Buttigieg he rose to fame a little bit in 2020. I'm not sure there why Louisiana is safe blue. Let's fix that. But anyhow, Pete Buttigieg, he ran for the Democratic presidency nomination in 2020. Ultimately, he ended up endorsing Biden, and Biden was the nominee. But he's seen as a bit of a rising star in the Democratic Party. He's got strong connections to the Rust Belt area, which is going to be an advantage for him, especially as a Democrat. And then so we're going to be doing a matchup between him and then J.D. Vance, current vice president. He was formerly a senator from Ohio, but we're going to be doing a matchup between those two. So I've already characterized all the safe, likely, and lean states. We have a few tilt states left. They're left, and I do think for the Democrats, there's a few. This is based on the 2024 election outcome, so it was a favorable year for the Republican on the presidential level, in this case Trump, but I'm going to change a few of, I do think that states like Delaware and New Jersey and Maine are definitely going to go towards the Democratic candidate. Just the margin is questionable, but regardless, it's votes for the respective political party for their nominee. So on the Republican side, we start out with 219 electoral college votes. Let's see here. We'll go with we'll give the district there in Maine to the Republicans. So that'll be the only lean for the Republicans. And then the rest of these states are either most likely going to be tilt. I'm going to go with the tilt blue rating first. Well, actually, I'll just start out on the West Coast and then move eastward. So in Nevada, I do think that Buttigieg would probably do pretty well here. He is seen as more moderate, and it's possible that would be a advantageous part of running in Nevada. And then next up, we got the state of Arizona. I think Arizona went to Trump by the largest margin in 2024, so it is most likely going to remain in the Republican hands. Biden was able to win it in 2020, but and it's certainly possible for Democrats to win the state again at a later point. But for now, if the election were to be held today, I do think it would probably end up in the column for J.D. Vance. And then we will get to the district in Nebraska. I think that this will be a fairly easy one to characterize. Harris in 2024 was even able to win this district, so I do think that Buttigieg would probably do better, especially now that Trump is not running, and that will be one more electoral college vote for the Democratic ticket, so it brings us to 218 to 230, and then we will do a few other tilt Democratic states. I do think that Minnesota is most likely going to remain in the Democratic column, and then we'll do a few lean Republican states. I do think that the state of North Carolina is most likely going to be in the Republican hands. Democrats have put a lot of work into winning this state, but I don't know if the election were to be held today. I don't think Buttigieg would be able to win it. I do think that it would likely be a different. Didn't mean to do that in South Carolina. South Carolina is likely safe. Let's see what will be safe. I do think that Buttigieg has a better chance in Georgia. Plays well to the more moderate. Biden was able to win Georgia. It was by the narrowest margin of any of the states he won. So it will be close, but I do think shifting demographics are going to possibly help Democrats do better in the state. So that gives the Democratic Party 244 electoral college votes to the Republicans 246. Then we have one more state left, and I'm fairly certain to classify, and that is New Hampshire as a tilt Democratic state. The states of Minnesota and New Hampshire may very well end up being lean, but regardless, it's electoral college votes for the Democratic Party's candidate, so we're going to go with that. And then, as far as the states of Wisconsin, Michigan, and Pennsylvania go, these are the Rust Belt. These are really the states that will determine who ends up being the next president in this election, so in the 2028 election. So I'm going to go. Oh wait, did I do some? Yeah. So I'm going to go to. Oh, I did Florida. That's why. So Florida. Switch back. Okay. So I will start out in Wisconsin. I do think that this will. I think Buttigieg has a good chance of doing well here. And then he was originally from Indiana, from Fort Bend. He was the mayor there. But if I remember correctly, he's now in Michigan. He has been floated as a Democratic contender for the Senate level. But I do think in this situation where he's running for president, it would most likely be a Democratic victory in the state of Michigan. I do think that the state of Pennsylvania might be a different story. It'll be interesting to see because Trump has been on the top of the ticket for the last 3 elections, and there's just been a generation of young voters who have seen nothing but Trump. So it'll be interesting to see an election where Trump is finally not in the picture anymore. I'm sure he'll endorse Vance should he get a nomination and everything, but not the actual candidate. But I do think that the state of Pennsylvania is most likely going to go to the Republican candidate. But regardless, that ends up with 273 for Pete Buttigieg to 265 for J.D. Vance. Feel free to let me know if you have any questions, and don't forget to like and subscribe. Thanks. Bye.